Hey guys, how's it going today? Today, you've obviously seen by the title, we're going to be doing an oil change on the fabulous Fatboy. And before we get started, I guess the one thing I will say is if you're going to do the oil change on the bike, you should probably get the engine hot. Preferably, you want to bring it up to operating temperature. Now, it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to drive here, depending on the traffic. So I'm going to say that's good. The other thing we'll start with is that we will be using Sin 3 for this one. So I know that there are probably going to be a lot of oil Nazis out there that are going to say, you have to use this type of oil. Don't use this one, only use this one. Well, as far as I'm concerned, for the application that I'm going to be using the oil for, which is just general regular riding, as far as I'm concerned, you can use any motorcycle oil. In other bikes I've used the Sin 3, I've used regular Harley oil, I've used AMS oil, and really I couldn't tell you much of a difference between them for what I use it for that application. Now, that being said, if you're going to be racing, if you're going to be, going long distances between oil changes, driving through extreme heat all the time, you might want to use something different. But for what I'm using it for, the Sin 3 will work just fine. So let's get at her. Now, generally, if you're going to do an oil change, you would want to have your bike on a stand. However, I don't have a stand, so all I did was I just took a nice chunk of aluminum that was sitting there, propped the bike up on the kickstand there, brings it close to straight up and down, maybe not quite, but close enough for what I'm going to need it for. Okay, so the big difference on these M8 engines is that now we've got the dipstick down here with the oil tank at the bottom, whereas on the older models it was right up under the seat. But behind this cover now is the battery. So we'll drain it out the bottom, and if we look, there is your drain plug. So let's get to her. Okay, so we got the drain plug out, and as you can see, it's got a little O-ring around it. So it's always good to get an O-ring when you do your oil change. And if anybody's curious, this is just a 5/8 socket to get this off. Okay, so the oil's out, the drain plug's back in, and now we get to the oil filter. And you can see the oil filter is at the front of the bike. Now, Harley puts them right there, which means they usually make one hell of a mess when you take those off. So as you can see, I've kind of put some cardboard underneath there, trying to make it not quite as messy, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, we got the old filter off. Here's the new one, and as you can see, put a little bit of oil on that gasket. Helps with the seal. You can also throw a little bit of oil into the filter itself before you put it on. It just helps out a little, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, we have the new filter on. Didn't make too much of a mess. The only thing I will say is with that oil cooler in the way, makes it a real pain in the ass to get your hands in there, or even one hand in there really. But it's on. Okay, so we should be ready to fill her up, and it should take about 5 quarts, I think. Okay, we're done with the engine oil. Pretty easy. All we really have to do now is just to start it up and check it, but I figured since I have the oil to do it, I'm going to see how hard it is to do the transmission oil. The filler cap is way down there, if you can kind of see it at all. And the drain plug is directly up underneath, so that's not going to be too difficult. It looked like it was about a 5/8, just like the oil plug. And anyway, I'm going to start by getting that guy off. Okay, I got the cover off. It was just two Allen screws on there. And as you can see, there's your battery back in there. And I'm going to take off this little plastic cover here, and we should be able to get to the filler a little bit easier. Okay, so that little cap just basically snaps off, and there's our filler down there. So all we got to do is drain the oil, which won't be too exciting, and see if we can get to that bad boy. Okay, so I managed to get it out. Had to use a nice long Allen key to do it, but it's out. The one thing you'll notice is it's pretty long, so getting it out of there is, even just pulling it out's a little bit of a bitch, but not too bad. So let's see if we can find a funnel that will reach down there. Okay, we got our nice long funnel in there, and we're going to take a liter of this. We're not going to pour the whole thing in. We're going to pour most of it in, and then we're going to put the filler cap back on. We're going to start it, and we're going to check the oil and the transmission fluid again, make sure everything's going to be okay. And we're going to do that when it's on its side stand. So we'll take that plate out from underneath the kickstand. Okay, so now we are going to start this bad boy up. We'll check for some leaks, and hopefully we'll be done. Okay, so that's it. We're done. I would say that, final oil count, the engine took about 5 liters, 5 quarts, about that. And the transmission took about a full liter, about around that 33 ounces, but basically that's it. Now with the Syn 3, you can use it in the engine, the transmission, and the primary, so that's one good thing about it. It's kind of the same as AMSOIL probably would be. And I will say one other thing, and that is I would invest in something like this. Nice long Allen key, because getting at that transmission filler is a pain in the ass. But anyway, that's all I got for today. So until next time, folks, we'll see you later.